Imagine this, a typical evening, but then one wrong word, and boom, you're caught in an emotional hurricane. Sound familiar? It often feels like our partners have a knack for pushing just the right buttons. But what if I told you that the instruction manual for diffusing these emotional triggers was actually written 2,000 years ago? Forget about the pop psychology you read in glossy magazines. Today, we're going to dive into the minds of ancient Roman Stoics and discover how their philosophy can save your sanity and perhaps even your relationships in the 21st century. I promise you'll be amazed by just how modern these toga-wearing guys actually were. So, who exactly were the Stoics, and why should we even listen to them? Simply put, they were masters at cultivating inner peace, no matter what was happening around them. Emperors, slaves, generals. Stoicism was a philosophy for everyone. Their core idea is incredibly simple. We don't suffer from things but from our judgments about them. This isn't about becoming some kind of unfeeling robot, not at all. It's about becoming the pilot of your emotions, not just a passenger. And now, we'll explore how to apply this superpower in the most turbulent of zones, love and relationships. Alright, let's get straight to the point. Here's the most common pitfall in any relationship. Your partner does something that absolutely drives you crazy. Again, maybe they left their dirty dishes out, forgot that important thing you asked them to do, or said something completely out of line in front of your friends. And what's your immediate reaction? Helplessness, frustration, resentment. It feels like you're constantly stuck in a loop, trying to change the other person. Now, imagine a wise sage approaches you. Not just any sage, mind you, but someone who was once a slave, yet through the sheer power of his mind became one of the greatest philosophers. His name is Epictetus, and he tells you, the problem isn't your partner, the problem is your focus. It was Epictetus who formulated the first golden rule for what we might call the Stoic relationship handbook. It goes like this: divide and conquer. But it's not about conquering your partner, it's about mastering your own world. Epictetus taught that everything in life falls into two simple categories: things within our control and things entirely beyond it. Let's be honest, almost everything about another person falls into that beyond our control category. Their mood, their habits, which have formed over decades, their past, what their mum thinks of you, their reaction to your words. Trying to control any of this is like trying to control the weather. You'll waste an immense amount of energy, get completely drenched, and still change absolutely nothing. So what is within our control then? Only a little, but it's the most crucial part. Your own thoughts, your own judgments, your own actions, your response to that specific coffee mug left on the table. You could explode with anger, or you could calmly put it away and tell yourself, it's just a mug. It doesn't define our entire relationship. You can choose to be offended by your partner's words, or you can say, that hurt my feelings. Can we discuss it? And this is where the real magic happens. The moment you stop banging your head against the wall of what you cannot change, an enormous amount of energy is freed up. You stop suffering from your own expectations. Resentment disappears because it's born from your judgment that you've been treated unfairly. You begin to see the situation clearly. Here's the fact, a mug on the table. And here's the story you've created about that fact. He doesn't value me. He doesn't care. The Stoic approach teaches you to work not with the fact itself, but with the story you've attached to it. This doesn't mean you have to put up with everything. Far from it. It means you act from your zone of control. Calmly communicate your boundaries, express your feelings, but never try to forcibly remake another person. This is the first and most crucial step towards true peace within a partnership. Okay, the theory sounds great. Separate what you can control from what you can't. But let's be honest, we're not robots. What if you're already overwhelmed? What if you're boiling inside, and the only thing you can control is the urge to hurl the nearest object across the room? In that moment, reason shuts down, and pure, furious emotion takes over. This is where another Stoic comes into play, Seneca. The man who mentored Emperor Nero himself. And believe me, if anyone knew a thing or two about anger management, it was someone who dealt with one of history's most volatile tyrants every single day. His ultimate hack, his main weapon against rage, was ridiculously simple: a pause. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Think about that. Delay. You're not suppressing your anger. You're not ignoring it. You're simply putting it on hold. Before you snap back with a retort, before you hurl an accusation, before you slam a door, just stop. Be silent. What happens in that moment? Anger is an impulse. It's a short circuit in the brain where the emotional part completely takes over. It screams, "Attack! Defend yourself! Hurt them back!" A pause is like an emergency switch. It creates a tiny gap between the stimulus, a hurtful word from your partner, and your destructive reaction. In that gap, in that second of silence, your reason has a chance to return. It gets to ask, what will I achieve right now by yelling? Will I solve the problem or just make it worse? Is what I want to say the truth, or just a desire to sting them harder? Seneca literally advised, if you feel yourself boiling over, take a step back. Go to another room. Say, "I need 5 minutes to cool down." Take a deep breath. Count to 10. Do anything to break that instant stimulus response chain. Because, as Seneca himself put it, anger given time cools down. It loses its power. And in just a few minutes, you can return to the conversation not as a raging beast, but as a rational human being who wants to solve the problem, not just win an argument. It's a simple, yet incredibly powerful technique that has saved more relationships than all the flowers and apologies combined. Okay, we've learned to hit pause on anger, but what about the quieter, yet equally destructive enemies of relationships, the ones that live inside our heads? I'm talking about jealousy, persistent doubts, and that endless anxiety over what others might think. Thoughts like, what will my friends say? What if I'm not that important to him? Or, why did he like that girl's photo? These kinds of internal battles can poison even the strongest partnership. This is where the true heavy artillery of Stoicism comes into play, none other than the Roman Emperor, Marcus Aurelius himself. This was a man who ruled a vast empire, waged wars, and yet every single evening he made time to write in his personal journal. It was a journal where he trained his mind, much like a soldier hones their body. His core principle was unwavering. External events cannot truly harm you, not one bit. It's only your own judgment or perception of these events that causes you pain. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine your partner is laughing and chatting with someone at a party. In reality, that's just a fact. Two people are talking, but it's you, in your own head, who twist that simple fact into a full-blown tragedy. You start slapping labels on it. That's flirting. He doesn't care about me anymore. Our whole evening is ruined. And it's precisely these labels, these personal judgments, that make you suffer. Not the conversation itself, but your interpretation of it. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, if something upsets you, it's not the event itself that's at fault, but your perception of it. And you have the power to change that perception in an instant. Just imagine how potent that tool is. You can no longer be wounded by hurtful words, disapproving glances, or ambiguous situations. Why? Because you realize these are merely external inputs. How you choose to react to them, that's entirely up to you. This principle extends to the opinions of others as well. Do your friends disapprove of your choices? Do your parents think your partner isn't right for you? To a Stoic, that's merely background noise. Their opinions reside in their own minds, within their sphere of control. What is within your control is your own attitude towards your partner and your own life. As emperor, Marcus Aurelius constantly dealt with intrigues, gossip, and damaging rumours, even about his own wife. His life story demonstrates how this philosophy isn't just theory, it's a practical guide for navigating even the most challenging real-world situations. And this brings us to the most crucial point, the real plot twist, if you will. Many believe that Stoicism is all about being cold and detached in love, that a Stoic loves in some, unreal or passionless way. But this is a monumental misunderstanding. In fact, it's precisely the opposite. Stoicism teaches us to accept people exactly as they are, because trying to fix or change someone is an attempt to control the uncontrollable, and that's a sure path to endless frustration. A Stoic understands their partner is a distinct universe with their own thoughts and feelings, over which they have no inherent control. And it's precisely this profound understanding that fosters not coldness, but the deepest respect and a truly mature love. Consider Marcus Aurelius. Many scandalous rumours swirled around his wife, Faustina. What would an ordinary person do? Perhaps cause a scene, or succumb to jealousy. But what did the philosopher Emperor do? In his personal journals, he expressed gratitude to the gods for his loving, devoted, and simple wife. He refused to let others' gossip and conjectures destroy his own opinion or his family. He chose to focus on the good and control the only thing he truly could, his own attitude. This wasn't weakness, it was an incredible display of inner strength. Ultimately, Stoic philosophy in relationships isn't about feeling less. It's about loving smarter, with more peace, and with greater resilience. It's about building a partnership not on emotional roller coasters, but on a solid foundation of self-respect and deep respect for your partner. Thank you for watching this video to the very end. If it gave you something to ponder, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our future explorations into the world of wisdom. And now, a question for you. Which Stoic principle or piece of advice did you find most relevant and useful for modern relationships? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to read your thoughts.